Welcome back. Welcome back. Here doing another off-season guide, basically before free agency starts, what our feel is for pretty much every NBA team. We're going around the list. We've done the Wolves, we've done the Sixers, we've done kind of the Cavs, but we'll do another video on them. But here we're talking about the Indiana Pacers. Basically what this team should do, what's their current cap situation, what moves should they be making this offseason for a team that just had a pretty decent conference finals run. Pretty impressive to say the least. I know it didn't end the way that you probably wanted, and you could have won one or two games versus Boston, but hey, that's what these moments are for, learning. And for being the first year in the playoffs for this team as a core, we can just go and talk about them pretty freely. Pascal Siakam is a free agent, and yes, he will be 30, or if he's not already 30. But they have the ability to sign him to a max contract. I don't know if Pascal Siakam is worth the max contract for 4 years. However, it's probably a move you have to make. What are your thoughts on Pascal re-signing? Because I do like it, and I thought he was a great fit for them. It's just a matter of it's a lot of money to be paying a guy that's going to be over 30 and in a few years might hurt. But the cap will increase 10% in the near future, so it won't be that bad long term. But yeah.
I think if anybody is worth the money, I think Spicy P showed you during this playoff, series, these series is that he's definitely worth investing in. I think that just like we see with Bron, Curry, Kawhi, Paul George, of that era, I think Spicy P is one of those guys, has a championship, good veteran. I think that he played a good fit. I agree with you with Tyrese and those guys. I think it just comes down to health. I think if Tyrese was fully healthy, Benedict Mathurin was on the floor, Indiana would have had a lot more production. I just think that they need some cats to really hold them down on the defensive end. So if Obi takes up another step, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, no. I mean, I definitely think that the two free agents they have currently on their roster are Pascal Siakam unrestricted and Obi Toppin restricted. So they can match any offer Obi Toppin gets elsewhere, but you have to set a limit on that. He can't get, say, a 4-year, $80 million contract from someone, and you can't match that. I'm sorry, Obi Toppin's pretty good, but he's not worth 20 mil a year or 15. He's not. That's a lot of money to be shelling out to a guy, and it also limits your trade possibilities if you're going to do that. We're obviously going to get into some trades that this team could make, and I think there's a lot of interesting ones that would really move the needle for me for this team because I think they're in the tier 3 of the Eastern Conference. I know they just made it to the conference finals, but their run was a little fluky, to be fair. The Knicks series was a good win, but they were very battered. The Bucks also very injured. So we're going to go into trades here. I think Mikal Bridges, I don't know if he's on the table per se, but I think you have enough to be able to do that. Yes, you're mortgaging your future. You'll have no picks after this. You will have none. And you're probably going to have to get rid of Andrew Nemhard or Benedict Mathurin. You're probably going to have to get rid of one of those guys. And I like them both a lot. However, to get a guy like Mikal Bridges, who right now, if you feel as though this run was not a fluke and you actually are better than those two teams you beat, this is a move that puts you into that tier with them, where I feel like Boston's in a tier of their own. And then you have like Philly, New York, Cleveland, Miami come playoff time. Like you get into that tier of team where you could probably jump the Orlando Magic a little bit. Or like, while I think right now you're on the same tier in totally different directions, Orlando's offense sucks. Indiana's defense sucks. So you're in that kind of realm. It also gives you defensive upside. It gives you 3-point shooting. It gives you a guy that any given night could give you 25, but you know he's going to be reliable and do all the little things that you're looking for. And I don't know if it helps with your rebounding problem, which we'll get into moving forward, but it's one of those moves that I love for the Indiana Pacers.
100%. I like that, top 3, top 2 on the phone right now. But I think that you could use a wing scorer like Mikal, but if not Mikal, someone of the same stature and slender, same defensive prowess-esque type of game. And that makes me think of Herb Jones. You could use a Herb Jones, you could use a Trey Murphy, but I think that if Indiana is to trade with anybody, you would want a particular type of depth that can move with Tyrese Halliburton's flow, if that makes any sense. But that makes me think of what New Orleans has, how those guys can run, outside of Zion. And if you wanted to, I know they got Miles Turner, but that's why I think Herb or Trey could, be a good fit next to Tyrese. Can run, catch the lobs, do everything that Obi does if they were to move on from Obi as well. I know he's restricted, but also be able to play defense, really good defense,
Defense
which is
has to be
what
the
they
target. Has
exactly.
to be the target. Like every trade I'm going to mention either has to do with defense or rebounding. And the two guys you mentioned obviously do the defense part of it really, really well. So Mikal Bridges obviously fits that mold. I'm going to throw another guy out there just for defense purposes. Alex Caruso. Yes, he makes a lot of money. I don't personally love this trade, but it's an option where you can go and stick him on the other team's best guard, and he's going to go and do the job well above average. And I think that's what you really need. I don't want to touch too much on it because I don't know if that will happen. However, he's getting paid a lot, which is the only cause for concern for me. But he's one of those guys that you can just trust to do his job, similar to Mikal Bridges, and just do it at the highest level. Another guy I want to mention quickly, because to me, the biggest problem with the Pacers was the rebounding. Like, yes, they team rebound, but they're still not overall a good rebounding team. They were bottom third in the league in rebounding. You can't have that if you want to compete for a championship. You can't give offenses multiple opportunities, especially come playoff time when you're playing against the best offense or the second best offense in the Boston Celtics or teams that struggle offensively like Cleveland or Orlando. If you're going to go and give them second and third opportunities, they're going to score on you. That's just how the league works. These guys overall across the league are too talented to where you can drop a few games like by accident or games that you should win to like the Pistons or the Hornets where you're just giving them second and third opportunities. So I think an Andre Drummond would be really interesting for them. I know he doesn't fit the pace and space kind of mold, but if you can go and say Miles Turner comes out and he's going to play, let's say Miles Turner plays 30 minutes a night. For that other 18, you can get enforcer defense and rebounding. He will give you double-digit rebounds in 18 minutes. I promise you he will. That's Andre Drummond in a nutshell.
100%. I think you go north, you have options from New York as well. I heard Hartenstein is on the block, potentially. And if you aren't willing to re-sign Pascal or hold on to Obi, I think that you could come up with a trade with New York, to acquire Hartenstein, maybe even Mitchell Robinson if you really wanted to. But Hartenstein and you could say Bogdanovich or Alec Burks. You could try and package something up if you're New York. Tibbs is only going to play 6 guys anyway. But to kind of help out with that rebounding, I think if they could come off of Julius Randle, put Julius Randle in Indiana with Hartenstein, come up with the pack, Spicy P, throw Obi in there. You could throw Nimbard in there. I think that may be something that you want to take into consideration.
The only thing is, if you get Randall, it kind of just defeats the purpose of re-signing Pascal. That's the only thing for me. I think the fit would be interesting. He'll jack up a ton of threes. He'll be able to be a force inside, which the Pacers need more of because Aaron Nesmith is their only real true driver of the basketball. I guess Pascal is too, but his is primarily on the fast break. And there's a lot of different guys you can get for that. But to me, it's just really the offense I think is going to be there no matter what. I know they don't have like the traditional offense. It's a 7-second offense. They're pushing the pace and they're getting it up the floor and trying to just get those easy mismatch looks. And it worked. Their best offense ever, I believe, in like offensive rating. So it's just one of those things where you need to be able to fill the holes of your team a little bit, and getting a really good defensive guy like an Alex Caruso or Mikal Bridges or a rebounding guy like an Andre Drummond, just off the top of my head. But there's guys around the league. Like even if you want to go low end, you can go like Isaiah Stewart from the Pistons. Like that's just a guy that's going to go and give you some rebounds. I'm blanking on guys like maybe even a Nick Richards, who's not known as the best rebounder ever, but like he's just one of those guys that you can get for cheap that can do the job well enough to get you by come playoff time. And I think that's the biggest thing for this Pacer team, because I know Indiana fans want to be back there, but it's going to be tougher and tougher, especially with Philly having all the cap space they have, the Cavs hopefully making a move for me. And then obviously Boston is Boston. But yeah, that's it for this one. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time.